out in issues of development. Good evening and welcome.
Thanks for inviting me, and good evening, dear listeners and or viewers. I hope we are going to have a great program, and all what we are going to do here is our own contribution towards nation building.
Indeed, we are contributing to build Cameroon. Equally, in the program with us to help build the nation is Far Evis Tayon. He is a journalist. We are glad to have you.
Thank you very much, Leonard. It's my pleasure being here today, and I think we'll be sending special greetings to all those who are watching us, especially those from Bingbi Central Subdivision and those from my village in Gunoko.
Okay. You also wear the cap of a politician.
Well, you know, I have several facets, so to say. The situation under which we find ourselves, you must be able to fit squarely and adapt to the changing situations because we are living in an unpredictable era.
Okay, before we actually begin our discussions, briefly I want us to make one very brief remark on what the papers have covered today. The Post newspaper says U.S. Congress criticizes government and separatists suggest his return to federation. That is, to find both sides guilty.
That's right. I mean, if you know, when you listen to the Ambas giving their narrative, they blame the government. When you listen to the government blames the Amba. But the bottom line is that as they keep on trading accusations and so on, they are all committing crimes, and that's why the U.S. government said that, and we just have to, you know, accept that both sides are committing crimes, and that should stop.
Okay. Mr. George, the Guardian Post says PM Dion Gute charms Bamenda public with down-to-earth approach. Is that it?
I wonder whether I had a choice.
Okay.
You know, what actually happened there is every person in the mood now is looking for an outlet. It's like people are suffocated now, or they are suffocating, not being suffocated, they are suffocating. So any opportunity that people have now to bust out some of those compressed emotion, it is welcome. You just had that opportunity to, some of them become emotional and say what they were saying, but it is just part of the duty of every politician to know when and how to get people excited.
Okay. Mutation is le carré das Tumifunzi von Nangwafo from VE Muket. According to them, these are the persons who could likely engage in mediation as far as the ongoing crisis is concerned.
Well, it becomes a little bit complex there, based on what La Mutation, as you said, is saying. You know, we're in a situation whereby everybody proposes the way he can. But I'll be a little bit, I might not really very well fit in their own analysis, for the fact that when we come to the level of mediation, if it's for the early stages of mediation, all right, those actors mentioned by the paper can go. But when we talk about absolute mediation, it must take the third party that we don't even know. The reason here is that the familiarity, sometimes they say big content. Now, all of these figures mentioned by Mutation, they are renowned figures. There are people who have stood the test of time, but in the present dispensation, at the level of mediation, I know and I believe that over 60% of those who will be watching will want to see somebody neutral. It could be the General Rawlings from Ghana, it could be somebody else, but I want to see somebody completely very new, such that any decision arrived at will not be like a biased decision. And I'm sure that that's what many people, including myself, will be looking up to.
Okay, we begin our discussions with you. I will start with you, Dr. Nick. Form of the state. We are asking the question whether the form of the state is what is causing problem in Cameroon today. Many people talk about the form of the state. What is it that, according to you, is supposed to be fixed to get people to feel belonging to the state?
That's right. We have a lot of problems in the nation. There are myriads of problems, and the Anglophones have been feeling a pinch. The Francophones do suffer, but they are not aware that they are suffering.
Can you contextualize what we understand by? Yes.
Yes, and I want to kind of like understand why everybody says we have to discuss the form of state.
Okay.
Because if you go to look at the problems, forget about 1961, all this. I mean, is it 1961, all those things? But what is it that has really pushed people to where they are now is bad governance. Okay? You can summarize all the problems in Cameroon and put them in a basket called bad governance, bad economies, whatever. But bad governance is the key thing. And that bad governance comes from ENAM, you know that. Now, so when it's bad governance and people keep complaining and then they are called dogs, they are beaten, they are locked up and so on, and you can't get your way through with that, then you get to a point where Anglophones say we have to discuss the form of state, so that if you think that you can be doing your own kind of thing in your house, frying your own omelets the way you want, fine. But we want to be able to prepare ours the way we want. It might be you want to be eating something else, but we want to be eating achu and so on, and we don't want you dictating to us what you should eat. And you cannot do that without actually discussing the form of state. And the form of state, while before you take the microphone, there are some the key forms of state are. Presently, we are in which dispensation? We are in the highly centralized government. Then if you leave from that, then you might probably go to what the government is proposing now, which is decentralization. Mm-hmm. And then if you listen to Pam Mokete the other day, he says not decentralization into 10 states, but we should call it 10 federated states, which is just a centimeter away from the decentralization. Then you can come back to what we had before, which was the two federal states, West Cameroon and East Cameroon. But tonight I'm going to be discussing something better, which is the confederation.
Okay, confederation.
And of course, you know, the restorationists have their own agenda.
Okay, they have their own agenda. Mr. George Mofo, when we look at the 1996 Constitution that actually gave birth to what we have today, that is unitary decentralized form of government, do you think it was tactically not right to have operated that form of government at the time?
Thank you so much for your question. Before I answer your question, permit me to say these are the dispassionate subjects that we use, which passes for everything and nothing. You know, the declaration, the first day the Prime Minister arrived, Bamenda, he said the head of state is ready to discuss every other issue except secession. And when you listen to the people who narrated what he said in French, they said, it should suffer from the retard. At variance, you start discovering that from the premise, people already have ready-made conception of what they want the outcome of what is happening in Cameroon to look like. The next thing I want to say is that you will discover that even in the course of this discussion, we are going to be moving from form of state to form of government. Mm-hmm. And that is what Dr. Nick was just trying to say. But when we look at all the political dictionary, you will get to discover that they are interchangeable. Mm-hmm. And in the world of political science, they are virtually identifying two forms of states.
Okay.
A unit or a centralized, which is called unitary, or a decentralized, which is federation or confederation. Now, what we are now talking about here is that we are talking about essentially the form of government. Mm-hmm. But in most cases, people are within the camp that there is decentralization. But let me just say that federation or federalism is a form of decentralization, which is different from unitary state. And in the whole world, there are actually less than 30 federated states. And in Africa, there are about 5. You can talk about Nigeria, Ethiopia, Comoros, Uganda, and one other country that I cannot remember. So it tells you that even the so-called alternative within Cameroon between the decentralized state and the federated state is not even a community that is selling very high in the world. If you find that in the whole world, we might have 180, 90 countries, and you have less than 30 which are actually federated states.
Okay, I don't know whether you've answered the question whether it was a tactical error in settling for the unitary decentralized state, but from every indication things have not gone well. Mr. Elvis Farr, why did those who were charged, that is the Constitutional Committee members who adopted what we have today, why did they not foresee the possibility for what they were adopting to cause a problem in the future?
Well, the main issue is that they did not foresee, because they were working on that with prepared minds, which means they had an agenda, and we call that an issue of bad faith. It just boils down to what Doctor said, bad governance. And so at the end of it, to them, whether they were changing the appellation from the federal state to the unity state to the United Republic of Cameroon and whatever the case might be, you realize that all the agendas that the powers that be worked on was a preconceived idea from the beginning, in order to change the words the way they can, but to make sure that they have a grip on the power and they controlled all other part of the country. Therefore, it was a calculated move, because they understand that those from the English-speaking area are so smart, but then they will not want to give them a chance as to say they have to also have a say as per se. In this case, they tactfully worked on that constitution so that they should be relegated to the background, and then whenever you want to rise up, they just show you the constitution. You just want to show your head up. They say, look at it, the law on terrorism. You just want to show your head up. They say, no, the prime minister here is the fourth person, because as per the law, the second person in the absence of the head of state is the Senate president. At first it was and the Senate president is carefully worked out to work in their favor. That of the National Assembly carefully worked out to work in their favor. So that the prime minister takes the fourth position, and when you occupy that position in the governance system, you realize that you take only orders. They call you are the head of government as per the constitution, but when you look at it, it has no say, because if we're looking at a system whereby the vice president was put in place, who now co-opts his government, would have been different. When Peter Mafane Musonge was prime minister, you understand that there was a time where there were many director generals who told him bullshit, even at ENAM. One time they were writing an exam and the students came late, and of course he gave an order. He said, no, c'est moi qui commence, ce n'est pas toi. Because people realize now that in this present bullshit constitution, there is that tendency that all of us are appointed using a presidential decree. So you prime minister, presidential decree, I must the director of ENAM, presidential decree, Eric, presidential decree. So on paper they will say I am your boss as a prime minister, but when it comes to practicalities, you discover that the fact that all of us have presidential decree and you cannot dismiss me, you can only propose, all right. So it's a carefully worked out crooked mechanism to get us to where we are today.
Okay, we equally have been joined by Salomon Béaz. Salomon, nous parlons de la forme de l'État. Oui, il y a une crise dans le pays parce que les gens se disent que la Constitution, ce qui a été prévu dans la Constitution, ne prend pas en compte leurs intérêts. Je parle des gens qui vivent dans le nord-ouest et dans le sud-ouest. Pourquoi est-ce que ce n'est que eux qui revendiquent qu'ils veulent l'autonomie? Je ne sais pas. Pourquoi est-ce que les autres parties du pays sont contents apparemment sont contents de la manière dont les choses sont gérées?
Ils ne sont pas contents. Déjà, Léo, bonsoir. Bonsoir, très cher co-panéliste. Bonsoir, très chers téléspectateurs. C'est un honneur pour moi, une fois de plus, de renouveler ma présence ici aujourd'hui. Comme tu disais, Léo, c'est pas que l'ensemble des autres personnes qui ne revendiquent pas sont contents. Non. C'est qu'en fait, ils ignorent l'histoire. C'est l'ignorance de l'histoire qui fait donc en sorte que l'ensemble de la population, du moins celle du Cameroun francophone, ne peut pas prendre position quant à cette question cruciale qui regarde l'intégrité de notre nation. C'est une question historique, combien de fois importante, voire même extrêmement importante.
Non, mais au-delà du fait que peut-être les anglophones veulent qu'on rentre on ne sait pas, dans le système fédéraliste à deux États, je ne sais pas pourquoi. Et c'est pas pourquoi est-ce que les gens dans l'ouest du pays, dans le centre, dans le littoral, ne se sentent pas concernés de vouloir, je ne sais pas si s'auto-gérer.
Ce n'est pas, au fait, il va falloir, pour que les gens comprennent, puisque c'est quelque chose de très crucial, il faut que je replonge un peu dans l'histoire, pour que les gens comprennent. Le Cameroun francophone devient indépendant en 1960. En 1961, il va falloir qu'on aille à la conférence de Fumban pour que le Cameroun anglophone obtienne son indépendance sous la bannière du Cameroun fédéral. Mais alors, avant la conférence de Foumban, il y avait le consensus de Bamenda qui avait été à cette époque comme un préalable à la conférence de Foumban. Lors de ce consensus de Bamenda, il était question pour Djongo Foncha de faire en sorte que les anglophones n'aillent pas en rang dispersé pour les revendications qui pourraient, n'est-ce pas, soumettre lors de la conférence de Foumban. Parce qu'effectivement, vous vous rendez compte que le Cameroun étant, n'est-ce pas, sous tutelle de l'ONU avec une administration conjointe. Ce qui fait que du côté francophone, il y avait, n'est-ce pas, l'administration coloniale française qui était complètement différent du système indirect rule qui était appliqué du côté anglo-saxon. Lors de ces assises donc de Bamenda, il était question pour les partis politiques du côté anglophone, les membres de la société civile de s'asseoir autour de leur idéal qui était Djongo Foncha, qui était comme le plié de ce côté-là. Il y avait des questions qui étaient soumises à l'ordre du jour. L'une des questions fondamentales, c'était réellement la forme de l'État, la justice, l'éducation, mais aussi la constitution du Cameroun fédéral. Et lors de ces assises de Bamenda, de ce consensus de Bamenda, il était sorti de là que les anglo-saxons avaient, n'est-ce pas, avait proposé une constitution fédérale qui faisait en sorte que le côté anglophone devait garder son autonomie historique dans son fonctionnement. Alors, quand ce consensus a été fait, ils sont donc allés à la conférence, n'est-ce pas, de Foumban, à cette même année, où les deux partis, Aïdjo d'un côté pour le Cameroun francophone et Djongo Foncha de l'autre côté pour le côté anglo-saxon. Mais seulement, Djongo Foncha avait omis de dire à ses compatriotes que l'administration centrale de Yaoundé lui avait fait des propositions sur une mouture constitutionnelle qu'elle devait imposer lors de la conférence de Foumban. Djongo Foncha a omis de dire ça aux personnes qui étaient assises lors du consensus de Bamenda. Ce qui fait que quand on est arrivé à la table de négociation, on a surpris...
Oui. Au-delà de ce qui s'est passé, moi, mon problème est que, bon, en 2000, c'était en 1996. Oui. La Constitution prévoit United...
L'État unitaire décentralisé. Exact.
Pourquoi est-ce que les gens dans les autres régions ne sentent pas l'obligation de forcer le gouvernement d'implémenter ce qui a été accepté?
Ce n'est pas qu'ils ne sentent pas. Nous n'avons pas, nous, du côté francophone, nous avons été éduqués à l'indigénat. C'est-à-dire la soumission totale à l'autorité coloniale. Ce qui était contraire au côté anglo-saxon qui, lui, était géré par une administration indirecte dont la population anglo-saxonne était habituée à s'auto-gérer, c'est-à-dire à revendiquer son autonomie. Aujourd'hui, le pouvoir central de Yaoundé, après avoir pris les commandes, a enlevé dans l'éducation cette capacité, n'est-ce pas, pour la population camerounaise à pouvoir reconnaître l'histoire dans le sens général, à pouvoir connaître comment les choses se sont passées et à pouvoir être capable de revendiquer un mode de fonctionnement du Cameroun. Une seule minute, s'il vous plaît, pour que je chute. C'est ça qui entraîne le Cameroun dans la dérive dans laquelle nous sommes aujourd'hui. On a l'impression que l'ensemble des Camerounais est d'accord sur le régime de Yaoundé. C'est faux. C'est que les Camerounais ne sont pas informés sur le déroulement de l'histoire au point où ce manque de connaissances a créé dans la mémoire collective un déni de la nation camerounaise. Parce que ne pas construire une nation sur des bases crédibles fait en sorte qu'on crée des citoyens qui ne sont pas capables d'avoir une assise sur le point de, n'est-ce pas, l'éducation du passé, sur l'histoire de leur pays et qui sont incapables de se projeter dans l'avenir. Je pense que c'est là l'honneur du problème. C'est pas le fait que les francophones ne veulent pas. Moi qui suis sur ce plateau, qui connais bien comment les choses se sont passées, j'ai mal dans mon cœur quand je me rends compte que l'histoire ressurgit aujourd'hui. C'est quelque chose qu'on devait éviter. C'est quelque chose qui était légitime et normal d'être fait parce qu'on ne peut pas mélanger deux entités qui ont été éduquées de la façon différente et les assimiler complètement dans un autre système de gouvernance qui n'a pas été dans leur ADN, qui n'a pas été leur héritage sur le plan historique.
We are looking at the form of the state. Doctor, is it the issue of the form of the state or bad governance? What if we had a federation with very corrupt officials? Would the situation be different?
Well, the form of the state and governance go together.
Okay.
But the governance was so bad, and people tried to change that, and it was not working. And then they sat down and said, look, if this thing is not working, probably we can set up our own governance structures. And to be able to set up our own governance structures, we need that the form of the state should be changed, and we need our resources, so that if we put you there as an elected governor or prefect or whatever, we'll give it some other names. If you don't do your job, we throw you out. That's the bottom line. Accountability. And so we are in a system where there's no accountability, there's no respect, there's no merit, and so on. So you have a group of guys who go to school, probably are not the brightest, then they go to university, find their way out, and then they go to this place. You know, you need to pay just 10 million francs and you go there. And then you end up now peeing on everybody, and that is bad governance, and that's where, you know, the Anglophones say, you know what, probably we should go back to what we had, something that used to work. And then some people say, no, you cannot go back to that. We'll continue to pee on you and beat you and call you dogs and so on. And that's why we are where we are. And the form of the state must be discussed so that good governance can be put in place.
Now, good governance, your issue is that there's bad governance.
There's bad governance, and you cannot correct that bad governance without correcting the form of state, so that the people who are governing are accountable to the citizen.
Now, what if the form of the state is redone as required by the population? Take the case of the people of the Northwest and the Southwest region. What would a restructured form of the state as it is today, what would it change or protect? Mr. George.
Again, I will keep on getting us to look at precedents.
Mm-hmm.
In the US, federated states were formed before a central government was constructed.
Mm-hmm.
And in other countries, it is from because what is a government if there are no government? The people who are supposed to be around there. The issue here, like Doctor has actually tried to bring out, is a play of power. Power is to be controlled, and when you don't have a power, or you have power that is not controlled, anything can happen. And you discover that even in your household, you discover that once you are given the opportunity to do anything and everything, you can once you are even coming, people will just stay quiet and they will not even contribute to anything. So what is actually happening in Cameroon today? Like, and I want to just make this remark, Mr. Moderator. You see, one of the things that we who have been socialized in the English language system, we actually don't help our Francophone brothers.
Okay.
I'm not sure Salomon would not be comfortable if you ask your questions to him in English. That would be another way for you to also socialize him so that he understands and the cross-pollination becomes easy. He speaks his French and you speak your English, and we are talking about Cameroon. Having said that,
also learn the French now.
Well,
by speaking it, I'm perfecting.
So what I'm trying to say is that you see, we are in a system where people have been socialized to institutionalize authority in a way whereby every other thing is looked upon from the prism of how they were trained in their formative days in schools. And so the average person who has lived in the system for 40 years he finds it very difficult to adopt or adapt to a new system. And so when they even start hearing some people, like he is rightly saying, that these people for 40 years, when that separation took place, they were socialized. Take two children born today, they are almost the same. But once you socialize them differently, they take different personalities. And that's what is wrong with Cameroon today. It is how to harmonize these two authorities now, and then we are using now the arrogance and the majority factor to think that we can crush the other people. But the issue is that at the end of the day, we become a lose-lose community. And the only way Cameroon can benefit, somebody was even proposing this morning, okay, If the other side, they are comfortable with their centralized system, why don't you allow the other side in the United Confederation have their federation, and we'll create an innovation that Cameroon can have a country, one is centralized and the other side is federation in the world. Why not? So until, and we must have a, because come to think about it, even this thing we are talking about, whether you defy or you retrace decentralized system, if, like you were asking the question, if it was implemented, even within all its imperfection, where we have regularity of elections, where we have accountability, where the elected can be chased out if they don't. But when you find a situation where a mayor sits deliberating in a session with his councillors, and then they have to take the budget or the resolution and send to the SGO to sign before it is implemented. That is what we are saying, that it makes bureaucracy, it makes development to be hinged on person and not on the people for whom that development is directed at. So at that point now we are moving on this, and we think that somebody is more powerful than the whole community of people. And you remember, a state is the highest form of organization of persons who have come together because they have a common interest. One person cannot be bigger than a state, which is the reverse of what we have as a centralized system, whereby one person is seen as all-knowing, omniscient, and all of those things. And we are saying that the world is evolving.
Okay, 1996 we had a constitution that was actually presented to Cameroonians, adopted, and that is what has been functional. Elvis, it says unitary, decentralized state. Why has it taken so long for this to get effected on the ground?
Well, in the first place, it's taking long because the agenda for that move was not even very clear. Okay. Bad faith, as I said, was behind that 1996 constitution with the agenda to usurp, to assimilate, and to govern by force the minority. That one is true. Now, for taking long, it's very normal that it was like a testing mechanism. Let us first of all see this system and see how it goes. And for the time being, you know, we have this system of divide and rule where the government comes in through the CPDM and some other mechanisms. They will come and pick elites along within your area and put them all every day. You do homecoming, and let's thank the head of state. Let's thank the head of state, and that is what killed the entire. That's what delayed it, because at each point in time we want to come up, there should be an elite in your neighborhood who will be able to tell them, no, just come down. Even when everyone is a gate man in Yaoundé, but he will make you to understand that he will talk with the head of state. He talks with him day in, day out, and he will be able to get this thing to you in less than no time. When in Yaoundé, even the 50th position is not even seen. He cannot even measure up. So in all of this, it took so long because people were still building the sentiments. People were still gathering the facts. People were still being smashed. And you know, when you are being pushed to the wall, they don't take the first, second step before you move. It's until when you are to the wall whereby you discover you can no longer go beyond that wall. That's when you have to turn and say, but why am I going to like this? So during those years, people were still accommodating the things as they were coming. Not that they were fine. Just like what my brother said. They were not fine, but they were just accumulating. They were just accommodating. But at a point in time, they said everything has its own time. When we look at the national president, you have people like Mubarak who were in Egypt and all the like, even Gaddafi, they had stood the test of time too. But when the period came, when people got tired, they said, true, c'est true, as the Frenchman would say. And so, what we are currently receiving now, because the delay from that from 1996 right up here, is that people have now got to play where they say, Janama, Sagat, and that's where we are now, and Sagat, Sawagate.
Okay.
When the government is not careful.
Est-ce que tu es aussi de l'avis et que je ne vais pas en français? Moi, je use to learn. Oui. Il dit, hein?
Oui. Vas-y, Léo.
Oui. Est-ce que tu crois que ces personnes n'ont pas pu implémenter ce qui s'était dit en 96 à Yaoundé, qu'on est où? On est là où on n'est pas?
Du moins,
on est là.
C'est un pan.
Parce qu'on n'a pas implémenté ça.
Du moins, c'est un pan.
Oui.
Ce n'est qu'un pan. Il y en a d'autres. Le problème, c'est quoi? Quelle qu'en soit la nature de l'État qu'on utilise et le mode de gouvernance qu'on utilise dans un pays, l'essentiel, c'est le bien-être de la population. Du moment où cet idéal n'est pas atteint et que le bien-être de la population n'est pas garanti et que les citoyens ne se sentent pas en sécurité, alors forcément les travers vont remontrer en surface. Et c'est le cas aujourd'hui. C'est pour ça que je précise que la non-implémentation ou l'implémentation tardive des dispositions constitutionnelles de 1996 sont un pan parmi tant d'autres du j'en ai marre d'aujourd'hui, comme dit mon panéliste de droite. Il y en a d'autres. Nous ne pouvons pas occulter que dans un pays comme le Cameroun, qui a une histoire connue, une histoire qui a drainé un héritage. Parce que moi, quand j'étais à l'école, on me disait bien, voilà l'héritage que les anglo-saxons ont laissé au Cameroun en partant. Voilà l'héritage que les Allemands ont laissé en partant. On ne peut donc pas blaguer avec un héritage historique. Parce que dans un héritage, il y a l'éducation. L'éducation forge l'homme dans sa mentalité, dans sa vision de la société. Et le type de gouvernance qui était utilisé du côté anglo-saxon était le principe digne d'arrêt rôle, où le colon amenait la population indigène à s'auto-gérer pour après se libérer du colon. Ça veut dire devenir autonome dans un futur très proche, ce qui n'était pas le cas de la population francophone. Mais alors, avec l'avènement de la Constitution de 1996, qui a mis sur pied l'État unitaire décentralisé et qui n'a pas été implémenté, a donc fait que l'ensemble de la population camerounaise a été touchée dans son fort intérieur. Pourquoi? Parce que les gouvernants qui nous gèrent ont appliqué à outrance les méthodes jacobines de gestion qui étaient dans les années 60, qui faisaient que l'administrateur ou le gouvernant qui est au sommet domine comme un roi absolu en utilisant toutes les méthodes à outrance de la gouvernance, spoliant même, n'est-ce pas, le citoyen de ce qu'il a le plus précieux, la liberté. Nous sommes arrivés là aujourd'hui où les Camerounais n'ont plus de droits, où les Camerounais n'ont plus de travail, où les Camerounais ne peuvent plus se soigner, où ils ne peuvent plus aller à l'école, alors que d'un côté, il y a un petit groupe de personnes, un peu comme au moment de la traite négrière, qui tient le bâton de commandement, qui vit dans l'opulence, qui se soigne en Europe, qui fait des voyages à outrance, utilisant comme ça l'argent du pauvre contribuable. C'est une situation dégradante, humiliante, voire même inhumaine, qui ne pouvait pas perdurer. On ne pouvait qu'arriver à un certain moment où on devait dire stop, comme c'est le cas aujourd'hui, et refonder la nation.
Good evening to all on board. I think the Anglophones have gone past the form of state because the Biya government made it very possible, and the Anglophones want something else. Let me say that if Biya regime still doubts, let them organize a referendum to confirm it for themselves. This is Daniel. Daniel, good evening to you. Good evening, Mr. Kum and the panelists in the studio. The form of state is not a problem to the unrest, but due to bad governance of the present regime. They can't be preaching peace when the military is killing Anglophones in the northwest and southwest regions. God save Northwest, God save the Southwest from the hands of the wicked. This is Wellington writing from Bamenda. It's Joseph Ndion from Bamenda. The form of the state is the problem causing unrest in Cameroon because all powers belong to the president and there is no independent body in Cameroon. This is Fundu Ignatius in Douala. The form of the state is really a problem to the current unrest because the Anglophones who signed the unitary state were either blackmailed or they did not for personal interest. What is taking place now in the name of negotiation resembles the 1972 mafia. I fear this may be a painkiller to the crisis. Minority and honesty has become disability. Hi to all in the studio. I think bad governance and the form of the state plays a vital role. It's J. Folu from Douala. Hi to Mr. Elvis. Nice program. Thank you too. Okay, this one says, Doctor has said it all. Bad governance is the problem that is hitting the state of Cameroon today. I am Motimbe Williams from Douala. God bless you people for educating the public. The best solution today is federation. Now, Doctor, who failed in getting the interest of the people reflected in the form of our government that we have today? Do you think the politicians actually, like the televiewer just said, they deceived the people? They went out and cooked up something that would only protect their interest?
Which of the politicians? Which era? Because
from the beginning,
the question is a little bit ambiguous.
We have politicians like the John Guffoshas and the Ahidos. In the 1996, we had politicians from all the parts of Cameroon.
Okay, let's say that the country has been evolving through different phases, and when Pafoncha put the thing in place, he actually meant what he was doing. And then somewhere along the line, people were taken for granted. But in the meantime, we had a bunch of our own brothers coming from West Cameroon who were co-opted in this thing as elites, who participated in selling off their brothers into slavery. And that's the problem even till today. And you can see what Mr. Diongute is trying to do now on the field is to try to say, hey, look, we are going to have a discussion about this, so we see how we can get out of this mess. Because someone was already mentioning that, I heard you reading it, that the negotiation, no, it should be very clear, what the PM Diongute is doing now is not the negotiation, it's not the dialogue. So please don't mistake it. To get to that dialogue is not going to be that easy. What he is doing now is just going around to say, look, the government has heard, the president has heard, and we think in the days ahead something more serious should be happening. And for that to actually happen, these other people who are sitting there now in government, they are not qualified to be there. They are not, because they are the ones who have messed up the whole thing up till today. And if they had been doing the right thing when the Anglophone problem erupted, we would not be where we are today. It's because how do I put it? Just before I got into the studio, I was thinking to explain this to our listeners. I have a character. George here has a character. You have a character. My friend Elvis and then Solomon, we have characters. Oh, you understand what I'm saying? And then the nation also has a character, which is a summary of the way everybody behaves in that nation. So you can give Cameroon as a nation. You can say Cameroonians behave this way, because I saw on a video a Nigerian talking about Cameroonians that we don't know what war is. We like to go after women. We like to drink mimbo. We are cheats. Femania. I'm sure that's what he was saying. And then some other thing, and then we don't know how to do nothing. That is, he was painting the character of Cameroonians the way he sees it. Whether we agree with him or not, that is the way he sees it. And even amongst us in Cameroon, that's why you hear these words of sardina. Some people look at the oil and say, you like taking bribes, so you are a sardina. You like putting money together, so you are a tontina. And then that's character. So there's a problem of character. And when you look at that character, and we look at some attributes, we might ask the question, do Cameroonians know what truth is? That's the point. We could talk about anything, bad governance and so on, but what is that ingredient that is lacking in the soup? It's truth. Cameroonians don't know what truth is. That's the bottom line. Okay. That is what is missing. And until we get to the point where we begin to understand what truth is and to deal with it and work with it and use it as a tool, an instrument, as a way of life, there will never be justice, there will never be peace, there will never be development, there will never be anything, because we don't know what truth is. Because
there will never be truth, there will never be justice, and host of others. How do now the Prime Minister is out there, tomorrow is going to the Southwest region. He was in Bumenda last week. These are issues. Should these be part of the things that are supposed to be tabled to the Prime Minister as he goes on?
Why not? There's what psychologists call talk therapy. One of the things, even for somebody to listen to you on a negotiation table, the person has to first of all have a stable mentality to also, because you don't go into a negotiation with stereotype, with bias, and say, I'm going to win by all costs. We have to first of all liberate ourselves. You see, like I said, a lot has been distorted, and Cameroonians have been made to see themselves like they say in French, the chien de faïence. That people who are like on each other's stroke, and that's the handiwork of politicians. I have said in this country that we don't need political parties to march on 20th or what I call National Day. It is supposed to be the military, because the military is supposed to be an example of national integration, national unity. When you see political parties with all their small uniform, they say some are 10 squares, some are 20 squares. That's like the source of the division, and you start seeing Cameroonians seeing themselves whatever. Like doctors just said, even for Cameroonians to accept themselves and refuse to be defined by others, it takes Cameroonians, first of all, to be somehow agree on the minimum. Do you know that in this country today, even this terminology that we're using here, whether it's federalism or regionalism and the rest, we don't have our own local definition. Politicians, each of them come on a platform and they give you their own definition. Some people know that federalism is to take away the oil in Sonara and give it only to Anglophones. Some know that it is about, I saw an intellectual today on the social media actually saying that when we go into federation, only people who are born in that particular region will have certain positions. So you start giving perception and frightening people, and you close their mind not to even open up to discussion, and they are not proposing alternatives. I want to say, even this thing that we talk about regionalism, if we have elected officials from the councils to the region, we are going to have accountable persons that if they come in and they don't perform, we have their same tool to send them away. That we are talking about citizens' power. Here we are talking about the citizens don't have the power that you are going to have one person, whether you like the person or not, who is appointed by a decree, and the person is telling you what you like. Today, up to today in this country, we ask somebody to define law and order. That's some people used to stifle other people who want to go to the street. Nobody has been able to define law and order. People use it at their own discretion. If they don't like their face, they say it's law and order. Until you get an SGO in Yaoundé who has had to stop the sub-zero, who had to authorize another party, why ban another because of law and order. And that SGO had to sit in and say, please, it is equity. If you ban this one, ban the other one, and all the political parties are on the same platform. And so until we start meaning what we say, and we say with all objectivity and frankness, that's where we're going to start having a country where people will have mutual respect for each other.
Okay, we are going over to the newsroom to find out what stories have made headlines today.
Africa, in partnership with the Catholic Universities of Lyon, Paris and Toulouse, over the weekend organized the 4th National Forum on Quality Health, Safety and Environmental Management. The event, which took place at the headquarters of the Cameroon Business Association, GCAM, brought together entrepreneurs, Cure HSE experts, amongst others. According to the organizer, Roland Quemen, safety and hygiene are very important tools in the productivity of a company.
We must have advocacy to promote these approaches and the process. We have seen that many companies in Africa, when the founder dies, the company dies. If the founder is sick, the company is sick. What does it mean? It means that most of our company, we don't have a clear vision, we don't have a clear business plan, we don't have processes, and the company depends on an individual, which is quite dangerous. But QHSE will help us to have processes. It will help us to make sure that our service and our product have high quality. That is, secondly, we make sure that the environment is taken in consideration. That is hygiene. And the most important, that we are working in a safely environment.
According to one of the participants, Cameroonians will not spend much on health if companies pay attention to Cure HSE.
Everybody who is having responsibilities in anything to do in an organization, be it a contractor, be it a customer or a third party, is a number one partaker of health and safety, because somebody's health and safety is one of the most important things that happens to any society.
One of the main facilitators of the conference called on business operators not to relent efforts on spending on Cure HSE of companies, as it is not a waste of resources as believed by many.
Un levier qui est de dire que il faut sortir de tous ces paradigmes qui disent que les démarches qualité, sécurité, santé au travail et environnement pour les entreprises sont des centres de coûts, sont aussi des moyens de contrôle, de sanctions, et bien au contraire, nous, notre motivation et notre message, c'est de dire que toutes les démarches QSE sont porteuses, grâce notamment à l'engagement des dirigeants.
Whatever be the case, it is important for companies to acknowledge that the four main components of a responsible corporate management approach of quality health and safety environment is based on the belief that all accidents are caused by human error and are therefore preventable with better training and administration.
The 7th edition of Lifetime Media Group Achievement Award for Nation Builders took place Saturday, May 11, 2019 at Taluta Hotel, Bafoussam, under the distinguished patronage of His Excellency the Governor of the West Region, who was represented the event this time in its first outing out of the Northwest Region. Laureates came from almost 7 regions of the country, graded in various capacity, cutting across various strata in the society. Tim Finian, CEO of Lifetime Media Group, welcoming all to the event, disclosed that the jury of the award was made up of 25 members who sat and deliberated on those voted and won. Recognized people who distinguished themselves in nation building and for the sake of national integration for people to live in unity and peace. He appreciated the laureates for their success story and encouraged the councils that were nominated, especially those in the West and Northwest region, who, despite the ongoing crisis, the councils excelled in management and executing their projects.
Though how trivial it is to tell you that you are recognized in one way or the other in nation building. And the award and the certificates, which are printed here in Cameroon, printed in Bamenda, you receive it just as a token of encouragement.
Also, some particular persons were distinguished and decorated.
You know, for the past 3 years, we have been working under very difficult conditions. And this is the first time that we are coming out of the public, taking a central stage to be appreciated openly, publicly for the work we are doing at the regional hospital.
With this, I feel that I am representing and talking what the ancestors inspired to talk, and that I have the people behind me. Both the traditional and the modern award are dedicated to the suffering masses of the suffering Cameroonian masses.
My appreciation also go to my colleagues, the members of parliament, who have been giving me a supportive atmosphere.
Looking at this as an encouragement to see the way forward we are to promote youth involvement in programs.
This is the second time of winning the award. It's not the first time. So it means I learned from my first lesson. I'm winning it the second time. For the traditional dressing by my brother in the form of Songwa, it goes to tell us that we are all one.
This year's Lifetime Achievement Award for Nation Builders brought over 40 laureates from across the country, including economic operators, civil servants, mayors, non-governmental organizations, corporations, funds from the Northwest, including the Southwest regions. President.
The
4-day peace mission of the PM head of government, Chief Joseph Diongute, to the Northwest region has come to an end. During his visit to Bamenda, he met with the chairman of the SDF party, Ni John Frundi, some traditional and religious leaders, as well as the population of the Northwest. The PM delivered a message of peace and reconciliation from the head of state, while reiterating that all options except secession are asserted on the dialogue table. He equally called on members of the secessionist groups to lay down arms and pledge loyalty and patriotism to the country. In his meeting with the chairman of the SDF party, Ni John Frundi opted to be a mediator in the peace talk, as well as Fon Angwafor of Mankong. The Northwest and Southwest Women Task Force equally called on the PM to do what it takes to restore peace. As the PM heads back to Yaoundé with a different cause for dialogue, pledge for mediation from the political, traditional and religious leaders, one thing is certain, that the population is thirsty for an all-inclusive dialogue, which they see as the only way out for the current situation. It is the cry of many that his visit does not end like that of his predecessors. The PM will be heading to Boya this Tuesday to carry out the same exercise.
A new branch of the Nsia Insurance Company has been opened in Moliko, Boya. This occasion that took place over the weekend was geared at ensuring an equilibrium in the outspread of Nsia branches, since the company has been present in Boya over the years.
And we thought it wise that because of our large scale of clientele and people running to and fro for Nsia, we say it will be better for us to put another branch in Moliko so that they'll be able to diagnose and digest our products, because we have a large scale as far as clientele is concerned. Like with us, we say the client is the king.
The event also provided an atmosphere of camaraderie between Nsia Insurance and its clientele to ensure that their needs are met, and also to educate them on a whole lot more.
We have to sensitize our clients to know about the third-party liability insurance policy, because we have noticed so far that clients come and pay their premiums, but they don't actually know the magnitude of what they do pay. And so many people will say ignorantly that probably the insurance companies are not meeting up with their expectations. I tell you, no, it is because the clients themselves need to know the clause pertaining to the contract or the policy that they are being insured upon.
Also featured were testimonials by some persons who attested to the viability of the services provided by Nsia Insurance Company.
A new director has been assigned to the Specialized Maritime Military Training Center in Isongo. Lieutenant Colonel Mayong Petit Serge was recently installed by the commander-in-charge of all military centers in the country, General Philippe P.
Officier marinier, quartier-maître et matelot, de part du président de la République, le colonel des hommes couvre-chef, commandant du centre d'instruction et de perfectionnement des filières marins, capitaine de frégate Mayong Petit Serge, ici présent.
Colonel Petit Serge takes over from Colonel Zono Seraphine, who has been transferred to take over the military command in Campo. Colonel Petit Serge is now charged with the responsibility to run the activities of this center and the training of the Cameroonian Navy in order to meet up with the expectations of the modern-day Marine.
To adapt the military training to make sure that their soldiers are able to fight.
This work responsibility was handed over to him in the presence of colleagues, family members and friends who wished him well in his new post of command. The military parade colored the day from the start to the end, as it is a typical tradition of the Navy.
Manchester City has been crowned the 2018-2019 champions of the English Premier League after bashing Brighton and Wolves Albion 4-1 over the weekend. The citizens of Manchester topped the league table with 98 points after 38 games, just 1 point above their arch rivals Liverpool. The peculiarities of the English Premier League this season is the brilliant performances of some African players. Algerian flying winger and former African Player of the Year, Riyad Mahrez, won his second English Premier League title with Manchester City. The Algerian international featured 27 times, scoring 7 goals and providing 4 assists, with one of the goal and assist against Brighton and Wolves Albion on match day 38. Liverpool duo Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane shared the Golden Boot award with Arsenal striker Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang on Sunday, after all 3 Africans finished as the joint top goal scorers in the English Premier League with 22 apiece. Mohamed Salah last season scored 32 times for the Reds, making him winner of the Golden Boot award for the second consecutive time and the 6th player to win back-to-back Golden Boot award in the EPL. Meanwhile, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is the first ever player to be crowned top goal scorer in both the English Premier League and the Bundesliga. Mo Salah and Sadio Mane are still to give their last word this season as they look forward to clinching the 2019 UEFA Champions League title on June 1st, with Aubameyang also fixing his eyes on the Europa League title on May 29. Courage, brothers.
Welcome back. You are watching Prime Hour on My Media Prime. We are going to continue our discussions on the form of the state asking the question whether it is a problem with respect to what Cameroonians are facing today, especially those living in the northwest and the southwest regions. I turn to you, Fa Elvis Tayong. Now, do you think that the non-implementation of the decentralization process has caused enough damage and that there is need for walking the talking, as per what the President of the Republic said 2 years ago, where he said that there was need to fast-track the decentralization process, or that we should move to something else?
Well, I know the head of state has been making speeches day in, day out that have not been able to have a remarkable impact on the lives of the common man, not to talk of us who come from the northwest and the southwest region. That is true. Now, on the issue of the form of state, I want to categorically say here that I am commenting on it with a lot of resentment. Mm-hmm. Why do I say resentment? Because neither the decentralization nor the unity state will even offer anything to the people. It is a fact. Now, when we look at it, there are just simply kind of borrowed jargons. Even if they were independent structures, I'm talking about independent institutions in Cameroon, even if we had checks and control mechanisms. I like the statement you say if, because it would not first of all be with the present regime. Okay. If another regime is taking over, because it's a whole system to overhaul the constitution. You have to overhaul the constitution. You put in place new mechanisms that will take into consideration if you are even talking of, because for decentralization is already off in my own analysis. If we are talking about other forms of government, decentralization should not even feature, because if you are featuring it, when you have not specified that you will be the one appointing the dues, you will be the one appointing this, it still ends up, it boils down to the same kangaroo system that we have had presently. Therefore, in all the form of the state we are talking about, what I am interested in the terms of analysis is for the fact that because the state has shown bad faith for over the decades and is still showing, even as we speak now, with the ability of not being able to come out clearly on the way forward, the simple thing is that we'll be moving faster to a situation whereby the people will decide which form, not even the government any longer, which means that if it has to come with voting or referendum, the people will now be better placed upon the education that we will be given and others will be given on explaining which one, how this one functions, how the decentralization functions, limitations of it, how federation functions, limitations of it, and why not even the situation people are talking about. When it gets to all of those levels, all those parameters will come to the table. And then the people now who have been enlightened over time due to the delayance of the government, because as you delay, the people become more intelligent than you who thought they were intelligent. And because of this long time delay, we are getting to a point whereby the government will not tell us the kind of government we want. It will get to a point where the people will decide, and the majority that decide carry the day.
Okay, the majority. Quelle est la forme de l'État que vous aimeriez voir pratiquer au Cameroun?
Compte tenu de la réussite des systèmes et des modes de gouvernance qu'il y a eu ici et des types d'État qu'il y a eu au Cameroun, moi je pencherais beaucoup plus pour le fédéralisme. Pourquoi? Parce que l'ex-président Amadou Ahidjo a géré le Cameroun et l'a construit sur la bannière du fédéralisme. C'est ça qui a construit toutes les routes, les
ça
écoles.
Ça a été aboli en 72, hein?
Pas aboli en 72. Je veux dire, nous sommes allés jusqu'en 82, jusqu'en 84 que Paul Biya a aboli, puisque nous sommes allés à l'État uni. L'État uni,
c'était
la République unie, la République fédérale avait cédé place à la République unie. Oui. Mais alors, cet héritage du fédéralisme est ce qui a continué avec la République unie du Cameroun. Nous sommes passés de la République unie vers la République du Cameroun avec un autre mode de gouvernance sur par rapport à la Constitution de 96 qui a fait du Cameroun un État unitaire décentralisé. Oui. Et ce modèle de gouvernance qui n'a pas marché jusqu'à aujourd'hui, qui a produit tout l'État et les avatars du système que nous voyons aujourd'hui.
Vous croyez que si, je sais pas, si le président actuel de la République essaye de mettre de l'ordre dans ce qui est en train de placer les personnes plus responsables dans des postes, rien ne va changer?
Premièrement, je vais vous dire que le président de la République est inadapté pour implémenter le nouvel modèle que nous voulons pour la société.
Okay.
Je vais vous dire, la première chose qu'il faut faire, c'est que si tout le système part, il faut que lui-même s'en aille. On ne peut pas prendre un ancien logiciel pour construire un nouveau mode de gouvernance. Lui-même doit d'abord partir. Parce qu'il va avec tout cet ancien système. On met sur pied de nouveaux mécanismes de gouvernance qui vont mettre le Cameroun sur des vraies bases crédibles, avec une constitution extrêmement rigide, qui ne sera pas facile à manipuler, comme celle de 1996, où en 2018, n'importe qui peut se lever et dire qu'on lève le verrou, n'est-ce pas, de la limitation du mandat à la présidence de la République. Non, nous devons construire un pays sérieux où les différentes personnalités qui gèrent les démembrements de la société sont des personnes élues qui rendent compte au peuple après un mandat bien précis. Et je pense que le système fédéral est celui-là qui peut mieux gérer la ressource, qui peut mieux gérer la ressource humaine et qui peut produire un résultat conséquent.
I don't know whether Dr. Nick buys your opinion. Doctor, what would be your recommendation as a panacea to this so much talked about form of government that is not giving satisfaction to Cameroonians?
Well, let's start off by saying, like you said, this decentralized government has failed. Okay, let's put it in the dustbin. Then we've heard talks of the decentralization. There's something good about decentralization, but it's not perfect. It has some limitations. If we were to take decentralization as it is today and say we have 10 decentralized states in the country and they're all equal, whatever, there's a problem here. The Anglophone will never be the president of this country. He will always play second fiddle. And that's why we need to go to that two-state federated nation, so that we can bring in some clauses which allows things to go from Anglophones to Francophones and so on. It's very, very important. If we leave at 10 decentralized states, an Anglophone will never be a president of this country for the next 100 years. Now,
why do you say so?
Wait, I'm coming.
Okay.
So, let's look at the 10 federated states as per Mokete was saying. In fact, there's nothing different. It's the same thing. You've just changed the D and replaced it with the F. It's the same thing. If you go to the 4-state federation, there's still something about it that's not exactly right. because we have to go back to the two things which identify the two peoples that came together. It's very important that you understand that. Now, if we go back to the two-state federation as it was, there was something about it that allowed someone to just play around with it very carelessly. So we still want the two federated states, but we have to define a couple of things. And when we are talking about the Constitution, bring in some articles and whatever. I'm not a jurist, so the terminologies don't come. But I have a practical way of thinking about it. Now, if you have your camera on me now, then it's time for us to actually understand what I was saying. If you look at this bunch of pens I have here, there are 8 of them in here. I consider this will be the 8 francophone regions, and you see each is an individual, so to speak. So we are talking about the 8 decentralized states, decentralized regions or whatever, that are francophone in origin. But look at this other 2. This is West Cameroon, and this is East Cameroon. And look at this one. What is this? This is the federal capital city, which would be Yaoundé. Yaoundé belongs neither to West Cameroon nor to East Cameroon. And then the capital of West Cameroon will be in Boya. The capital of East Cameroon, we build a new capital for East Cameroon on the Sanaga at Ebebda, along the banks of the Sanaga. Then you have Yaoundé, which is the nation's capital that is overlooking these 2 confederate states. It's a confederation because when you have a confederation has got some other more powerful clauses that are more powerful than the federation that will protect you. For instance, when we are talking about the army, it will be very clear that Anglophones makes this % of the army and Francophones make this %, so we don't make mistakes again. Because we run into a lot of problems because this thing just became so washy-washa, and that's why all the magistrates, the duos that were trained were all Francophones, and we turn around in 2018. We didn't train Anglophones. Let's create a new department for Anglophones in Enam. Clap for us. No, you were aware of it. You knew what you were doing. So we need to create a system where those kind of mistakes will never happen again. And then, so you see, look at this string, this color and these strings that I've put here. So this will be some constitutional clauses that will be put around to hold West Cameroon together. This will be some constitutional clauses that will put around to hold East Cameroon together. Then when we bring everybody together, East Cameroon, West Cameroon, and Yaoundé, then we can put it together some constitutional clauses now that make the whole work as one, like this, so that it stays as one solid nation, if we choose to be one solid nation. But inside that solid nation, it's very clear who is doing what and who is doing what. And in this arrangement, the central government is responsible for the army, foreign affairs, and that kind of thing. And then we could carry on with another debate. How do you raise funds? How do you share the budget? How responsibilities carried out, and so on. Under this dispensation, there is nothing like an appointed GO, SDO governor. It doesn't exist. We could continue to talk, but this is the bottom line.
We'll come back. We'll come back to that.
Yes, but just before, with this arrangement, we agree, these other constitutional things agree that when the president is an Anglophone, the vice president is a Francophone. Then the 2 federated states have their prime ministers. Then after 10 years, it switches around. And there's no debate about that. When we do it like that, then things will go well. Then we also put in the local constitution of the states that if a northerner, if it's the turn of the Francophones and a northerner is the president, when it comes around, it should be a Douala man or a Bamileke man and so on. So this thing doesn't stay in one tribe, okay? And then there was one other thing I was going to say. The decentralization, when we have the Confederate State of West Cameroon and the Confederate State of East Cameroon, there is decentralization within that state, because as of now, the people in the Southwest, they swallow the pill of decentralization, because they think that in the federal state, the Northwest now will come and sit on them. But when we cause decentralization within these states, that will not happen. So we will have the Confederal State of West Cameroon, but the Southwest now will be working independently from the Northwesterner. And when the presidential thing is rotating, if a Northwesterner happens to be president, next time it will be a Southwesterner, you know, like that. And then prime ministers begin to swap like that too. Okay. So that's the way it's going to go. And then I hope you. And then I'm saying this particularly to the Francophones, but they probably don't understand what I'm saying, because they have never understood what federalism and the benefits of it. With that decentralization and all these things happening, you will see that Mara will have a lot of money. I mean, every state will have a lot of money. You'll be able to do your things, because as of now, the people in the north, in the east, they have very poor schools. They don't even have schools. You'll be able to build your schools. You'll be able to do your things. Okay. So that's the way you should go.
I hope this was presented to the Bilingualism Commission.
No, the Bilingualism Commission is no use. Forget about it.
Okay. Okay. Mr. George, do you ascribe to this demonstration as presented by Dr. Nick?
You know, there is what they call ideal and real. And you can paint any ideal situation and it goes, if that is going to...
Ceteris paribus.
Of course. You know, we are talking about human realities. And all what Doc has said, I can summarize it to two concepts. Law and justice. You know, these are concepts which people interplay, but they mean something really, really different practically. We have situations where we have been able to come out with some of the best laws written, but the justice is not there, how it's applied in reality. So you discover that even by his presentation, if you want to go to analyze his own, it will become, probably you need a next generation or different type of people to even, first of all, understand the principle on which it is built before even actually applying it. And you see, with the current dispensation, let us look at the reality of Cameroon today. We have been brainwashed, not me, although the majority of Cameroonians have been brainwashed to already see a particular concept as anathema, that they don't want to even just hear it, but even to understand what it's all about. Now, Doc has introduced another concept, confederalism. Do you know that the Republic of South Africa is a country by itself, having autonomous republics, but it is neither a federal nor a centralized, nor a decentralized, but it's a unitary state. But it has autonomous republics. And you can see its economic power and its representativity in terms of world politics and the rest. So all what we can say here is that it is the people who are applying whatever they agree to apply that makes sense. We can bring the best laws, but we have people with bad minds. It will be as if we didn't have those laws put in place.
Okay. Good evening. In the studio, I think the form of state is the primary problem of the country. All power can't be given to a person, and the citizens will progress. Federation is the best form of government, and Cameroon needs it for peace and development. I'm Bill Clinton, Bright, writing from Douala. This message is gone. Good evening, Elvis. I must say I'm enjoying your panelists of today, especially the Francophone guy. He seems different from his peers. I like his ideas. Writing from Boya. Good evening to everyone glued to this very interesting program, especially to the panelists. I think one thing that is worrisome in our country is the lack of respect, especially by our regime. High-handedness and reprisals. If the president had gone to Bamenda, the impact wouldn't have been more. This is Lovett Bauer writing from Boya. This one is, we know about this already. Just say good evening to all in the studio. What the PM is doing is not different from what the former Prime Minister did. I think it's time for the government to get to work. Let the government stop playing around with anglophones. I am Kanjo Frederick, writing from Yaoundé. This one says, good evening to you all. Yes, the form of the state has also contributed to the unrest there. There is centralization in Cameroon, and that is a major problem. Decentralization should be put in practice and not just preached without implementation. This is Linda writing from Douala. Today was just an evidence that PM visit to Bamenda was a wastage of taxpayers' money because Ghost Town was still respected today. Why do the president regime enjoy marking time on the spot? Why the problem is there increasing on broad basis? Daniel, good evening to this humble house. I'm Badwin from Yaoundé. There is no way we can resolve the Anglophone problem without discussing on the form of the states, and every question must be brought to the table, not leaving out one, like the PM said. Leaving it is like creating another future war. I am Jock Francis from Douala. The form of the state cannot be discussed, says the former Minister of Communications. So why today? Okay.
Am I going out to
greetings to you guys on board. Lies telling has brought us here, and only the truth will take us out. This is Rema Emil writing from Boya. Good evening to you people in the studio. Doctor said it all. Bad governance and the state of the nation is the problem. Thanks for reminding them. Doctor, I saw the PM's tweet saying everyone should join in the ongoing dialogue. I wonder which dialogue he was talking of that is ongoing. This is George writing from Bamenda. Greetings to the entire panel, especially Mr. Tyon Elvis. I want to ask if the government has shifted from its initial position by accepting the taboo subjects. I never knew that 2 cubes sugar could pull mountains. Greetings to Dr. Okay. Ebwe Emmanuel is greeting you, Doctor.
Oh, thanks.
Based on your question, I will say yes. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Elvis. Only Southern Cameroonians who are now enlightened enough will choose a form of state through a referendum before dialogue. Okay, let us move back to the news room to find out what the papers had for its readers today.
Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us on In the Press on Prime Hour. On what is making news today in Cameroon, The Guardian Post, The Post, Défi Actuel, Le Gideon newspaper, Cameroon Tribune all report on the peace mission of Prime Minister Chief Joseph Diongote to the northwest region of Cameroon recently. L'Oeil du Sahel on its part says the population of Golfe in the Lagon and Shari division are angry against their mayor. Boko Haram once again attacked Gosi in the Mayo Sanaga division, causing a number of material and human casualties. Mutation says Cardinal Tumi, Fon Angwafo, Nijon Frundi and Fon V.E. Mokete would be mediating in the Anglophone crisis as government announces dialogue. Mutation also reports that 5 personnel of the Garoua Regional Hospital have been suspended for professional misconduct. While L'Avenir newspaper says Paul Biya prepares for a vast cabinet shake-up as international pressure continues to mount on him to look for lasting solutions to the socio-political and security situations of Cameroon. On to L'Equation to talk on the recent resolutions of the American Senate on Cameroon. The paper headlines: Cameroon is not a district of the United States of America. According to the paper, the United States of America is interfering in the internal affairs of Cameroon, and as such, the Senate deemed it necessary to interfere by ordering or asking the American government not to interfere in the internal affairs of Cameroon, according to L'Equation newspaper. L'Economy on its part says the main cash crop of the northern regions of Cameroon faces difficulties in production and sustainability. So the cotton and other local producers of cotton say all is not well since 2015. On to the Guardian Post. The paper says US lawmakers table compelling resolution on crisis in the northwest and the southwest regions of Cameroon. According to the Guardian Post, lawmakers have called for the immediate release of all arrested in connection with the crisis and dialogue without preconditions. The Director General of Customs says new tariffs advantageous to infant industries in Cameroon. The paper also reports on the crucial UN Security Council meeting to hold today on the Anglophone crisis. On to Le Gideon newspaper. Le Gideon reports that the National Disarmament Commission has revealed that 150 Ambazonia and Boko Haram fighters have laid down their weapons. While the Post says US Congress criticizes government, separatists suggest return to federalism as a possible way out of the current situation in the northwest and the southwest regions of the country. The paper also reports that men in military attire auction bears humanitarian aid. Fleeing northwest mayors have been ordered to return to deserted municipalities. That does it for In the Press on Prime Hour.
Lasha Kingsley, thank you very much for that wonderful press review. We are going to continue with our discussions out here in our studios at Fengudrom Bange in Douala, where we are going to look at our second topic for the day, asking the question what the 2-minute conference initiative can bring to the ongoing crisis. Elvis, I will start with you, I'm sure. It's you? Yes, I go with you. Elvis, is this the right time to reactivate the conference or the initiative?
Well, I will want to comment on that as you have given me the floor. Many people might not be very happy the way I'm going to put it.
Okay.
But I'm going to put it in a logical manner because all has to do with political analysis. Now, for the manner in which the current crisis is found, I repeat, nobody within the national territory, no groups of persons within the national territory, no groups of associations within the national territory can hold anything meaningful now, provided the head of state is not willing to do what is supposed to be done.
No, we are asking the question, now, is this the time for...
That's what I'm coming. Yeah. Because when I said nobody, means that it's not even the time and will not even be the time because, why do I say so? The Kadnatumi's mission, first of all, is of good faith. But the fact that you are simply going to put people together and then transfer the report to the head of state while awaiting action means that it is at the mercy of the head of state. Now, many of those movements, the whole issue that you see me getting worried here is that we don't need things now of this nature now as for now. Why? Because the head of state has had enough information. Associations have written, Kadnatumi, they have written even before talking about the issue. Lawyers have written. If you go to the presidency, there's a whole cupboard packed full of these things, and in them, the solutions proposal are similar.
Elvis,
meaning that now we are simply playing for time.
Can I cue you? I'm sure Kadnatumi was not holding a conference to present the worries, but to prepare those possible people to go and dialogue, because the Prime Minister says today that the government now says they are ready. Should the other side not also get themselves prepared, Mr. Salomon?
Au fait, c'est ce que je tentais d'expliquer quand je prenais mon propos liminaire.
Okay.
C'est qu'en fait, le dialogue, la conférence, elle est bienvenue. Elle est bienvenue. Mais seulement, il faudrait qu'elle se fasse sur des piliers crédibles, bien tuilés, puisque cette crise nous a amené à la croisée des chemins. Et c'est une occasion pour nous de planter une fois pour toutes les bases de la nation camerounaise. Et je pense que le cardinal Christian Tchoumi, un peu comme en 1961 avec le consensus de Bamenda, voulait ou bien propose de mettre sur pied, n'est-ce pas, pour que les anglophones n'aillent pas en rang dispersé, pour qu'il y ait des interlocuteurs crédibles, pas se fabriquer, pour essayer donc d'aller dans le même sens que le régime ou le système qui appelle à un certain dialogue.
If you say it is of no essence today, Elvis, you know that there are many factions. So if the government has to dialogue, who do you dialogue with? If people cannot organize themselves.
Le problème, c'est que là, présentement, il faudrait qu'on laisse le temps à la communauté anglophone de trouver les vraies personnes crédibles qui peuvent porter le message. Ce n'est pas des choses qui doivent se faire à tête chercheuse, non. Ça doit prendre le temps que ça doit prendre parce qu'il faut les vrais représentants de la zone anglo-saxonne qui vont s'asseoir à la table du débat ou bien du dialogue pour apporter les vrais problèmes de la résolution de cette crise. Il ne faudrait pas fabriquer des interlocuteurs qui ne seront pas ceux que le peuple a choisi et qui n'auront pas en eux l'onction et la capacité de mettre sur la table les vrais points à l'ordre du jour. Je le dis parce que il est très important. Il est très important parce que la crise que nous vivons aujourd'hui, la résolution de cette crise doit planter une fois pour toutes les vraies bases de la nation camerounaise.
Okay, you have followed up what has been happening so far. Doctor, we even saw the new spokesperson for that conference, Eli Smith, who went over to the United States. He met with the likes of Ebenezer Kwanga. He met with all of those guys. What do you think still needs to be done in that conference to get it actually efficient to be able to deliver?
Thank you very much. Before, I would like to just step back a little bit to give a little understanding of what is going on so that people are not confused.
Okay.
Now, we've had problems in our country, and the United Nations and other countries and everybody, even the citizens on the ground, have been saying, let's have a dialogue. Let us have a dialogue. So this dialogue that everybody has been talking about is this big dialogue. Let's call it the big dialogue. And this big dialogue, to get to this big dialogue, there's some work that has to be done. For people to open the door and enter into that dialogue room and sit and talk. And during this big dialogue, it will not be the kind of dialogue where you have a high priest sitting here and talking down on people. It's a round table dialogue where everybody is equal. And to my other, those professors, those fake professors who sit and say, on va dialoguer avec qui, you should have to stop that rubbish. Whom are we going to dialogue with? We have the government over here, and then you will have Anglophones that are here in the country of all shades. Then you will have those Anglophones that are currently in the prison now because of these problems. They will be there. Then you will have those Anglophones that are out there in the diaspora. They will be there. If you don't have all these people, it will not work. It's very important to know that. So now, before we get there, there are some smaller dialogues that are doing preparatory work so that this big dialogue can be efficient. That's where the Christian Cardinal Tchoumi commission, that's what it is doing. The Christian Cardinal Tchoumi mission is not the big dialogue. No. It is a preparatory thing, putting people together, helping us to understand, so that as we go there, you don't start saying your own thing, that one is saying his own thing. Or even if you are saying it, there should be a certain logic. Okay? And to me, this thing is not there to say you will come, you will not come. It's not there to select people. No, that's not what it is. So people, all these misconceptions, I don't want it. And then to get even a better and a stronger Cameroon, while the government will be having these big dialogue with Anglophones only, It's not having it. We're not going to gather people and put there. No, 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 no. Anglophones are going to talk for themselves with whoever that government is, because they know where the shoe pinches. Because in the other conferences, they go and bring other people there, and then they come and muffle the voices of the people. No, it's not going to happen. Now, while they are doing that, this current government, or let's say the Betis, should be talking to the Northerners because they have some unresolved issues. The Betis should be talking to Bamilikes because they have some unresolved issues. That's among Francophones. There's something that is not very nice, because I even saw here it looks like the Bamums have problems with Bamilikes and so. So we are going to be having some other small dialogues in the country, so we begin to understand each other. It's very important. Which other dialogue did I forget? Then after that, Anglophones as a whole can talk to their Francophone brothers. But it's a small dialogue, it's not a big dialogue. Of course, now we are talking, but we'll be talking at that time having understood one another better. But that big dialogue is what will solve the problem of this nation, and it's not a joke, and it's coming.
Okay, the Prime Minister says it's coming. How relevant is this conference as we speak?
Yes, let's begin from the beginning. The objective of Cardinal Tumi's Anglophone General Conference had to come out with an answer to 3 specific questions. Do you stand for secession? Do you stand for decentralization? Do you stand for federation? That, as far as I'm concerned, that was what has been honed out as the result of that particular conference. Now, based on that, the conflict for dialogue is another way etymologically that it takes two parties. And all what is said and done, all negotiations needs to be prepared. Now, for all this while, there are people who have been passing out as people who are thinking that there was no problem. Now it has moved now where we're actually in a conflictual situation, and this conflict has to be resolved. And all of us, for those of us who have learned to a certain level, will know the principle of conflict resolution. There are various approaches. Now, if we are going to use the approach of negotiation, it means that we might not need a mediator. But if we are going to need a mediator, which is a third party, we will also now use another approach in conflict management. But all said and done, for this country to be sustained as a state whereby you have nations that can speak to each other, we need to be sincere and we need to talk. And one of the things that somebody was saying, which I've just been imagining, that just imagine that a Sisiku and his team is released today and is sent now to the bushes to go and talk to those people who are still carrying guns. And imagine what can happen, because at the end of the day, we still need people to drop their guns, but we need to assure them that if they drop their guns, they will not become targets for other guns to be shot at them. So the simple thing, let them start showing evidence on both sides. All the other international institutions that have said, okay, both sides are wrong, which I don't know how both sides can be wrong in a conflict. Let each party start giving concessions. Now, the weaker, a stronger party is the state. And the state has the authority that they can do what they call stop. My friend who is the lawyer knows how they say it, arrêt de poursuite. Let them stop the legal, whatever is going on now to the Sisiku, and then allow him to move ahead and bring the people who are having guns, because we are saying that they cannot, because they need to drop their guns before they talk. We cannot be talking with the guns shouting left and right. Because at the end of the day, it's confidence building. And until we get a credible person, the current status quo has failed us that they are not credible. So we need an alternative that is going to can be credible within and without, which can talk to the people in the bushes and those in the diaspora. Because at the end of the day, we don't want to repeat the errors that were made, especially the errors of the 90s.
Okay, Doctor, you are Mandela in Cameroon. Please, Doctor, can you propose that to our president? Okay. Doctor, I hope that you are sending that proposal somewhere. Good evening to you people in the show. What the Prime Minister is doing in Bamenda is just a wastage of... okay, Brian from Yaoundé thinks that the Prime Minister is wasting taxpayers' money Good evening. I love what the panel is doing. That is the whole truth. The government should face the reality and stop playing games. This one says, good evening to you all on stage. I hail that our Francophone brother. Let the PM save himself some rest. Federation is the solution. This is Welsu writing from Douala here. This one says, bravo, Dr. Nick. Okay. This one says, good evening, dear panelists. It's Conrad from Boya. I would prefer two federated states for peace and development of our country is far back underdeveloped due to the so-called centralized state. Good day, my country people. Love you guys. Mr. Ebai from Cameroon. The capital problem in the northwest and southwest is the form of the states and grid. There is no decentralization in Cameroon. The president has one option, discuss the form of the state. Okay. Good day, ladies and gents. There's no lady here. Debating on crisis without taking any drastic measure action. It does not assure us, the citizens. My name is Innocent J. Good evening to you, Mr. J. Good evening to you all in the studio. Prime Minister have done the best. I thank him for his work. For Jude from Bamenda. There is one thing I want to let you know, is that unless they have released the fighters in Yaoundé before peace can return. Good evening to you all in the studio. The PM visit. Thank you. The PM visit to Bamenda. Nothing bad to us in Bafut because the ghost town was stronger than before, and things for doctor, for he is really talking like a father who know his children. This is Ernest from Bamenda. Elvis, you said you were not too comfortable with the conference. Why?
Now, when I say that the conference will not have matters at the point in time, it's for the simple reason that we know about the All Anglophone Conference 1, All Anglophone Conference 2. Now, as the conflict prolongs,
but the context is different.
The context is different, I understand. As the conflict prolongs, matters become complicated. What do I mean by becoming complicated? Now, you get, when the issue was to hold in Boya, sometime there were already some murmuring at the background, probably sponsored by the government. You know, people don't trust anybody as of now. That's the reality. And Cardinal Toumi is somebody very respectable that people will need to understand that he's working on good faith. But now, the whole system working on good faith with Cardinal Toumi, the question now is the ground on which he's treading is not a favorable ground for his good faith to be shown. Now, when we look at the composition of it, when we'll be holding the All Anglophone Conference, for example, and charting the way forward, the next question will be, because it has to do with many facets of people who have to be present. And when we are holding it, the next question will, like some people were saying, why Boya? Why not Douala? Probably and all that. Like, he has a reason why he wanted it to be in Boya. Probably it's an Anglophone issue, which many did not even buy. Now, while the issue is going on, the next thing is the complexities that surrounds us as we speak. Because I said earlier, the composition of those who attend, those who will speak, it will still be at the point in time whereby some people will be thinking that those who spoke for different reasons, whereas it's not the reason that they spoke for. Therefore, if I look at Cardinal Toumi as a person, being an interlocutor in the entire system, I fully agree because of his status. But now an issue where we have to get people in, like, all right, probably,
how do we build this trust and confidence?
Now, the simple issue to build the trust and confidence is that the state should be at the forefront of the building of the trust and confidence. When we say the state, it means that we're talking about the way forward. People have proposed this. Release persons, get the point. Give a message to even those who are in and out. Because when these issues come in now, and then Cardinal Toumi comes now with the conference, now that even the person who is out, now can no longer be incriminated. Now the people who are in have been released. Now, if Cardinal Toumi is calling, for example, alongside with other moral persons, it will be easier for them to sit down. Now that they've released all of us, and the temperature is calm now. Now, what do we put together to take now for the dialogue table? It makes a lot of sense. In that case, we'll be moving to the right track.
I'm sure in one of their write-ups, they requested for the release. They released for...
Yeah, you're right, they requested. But let me tell you something. Probably Elise Smith did not tell you. His movements abroad, because they had a very good agenda. I've said the movement
No. when
there's no welcome, it tells you that Kandatumi has a good agenda, but the question now is those that are supposed to be part of it gradually will not be giving us the result as per se. That is why I said for Kandatumi's issue at the point in time, I keep on saying so. If the government takes other moves and the tension is calm, and Kandatumi comes in now, it will make a lot of sense because people from various facets now will be willing to come, heads will be calm, people can now give their ideas, including those in prison, including those in the diaspora, and there will be a level ground. In that case, they could hold 2-3 meetings. First, maybe in Cameroon, and for those who are still scared, probably to come, they can take next meeting to Nigeria also. There will be representatives now who can now come with a cool head, and there will be a way forward to take a common ideology now to the dialogue table wherever it will be holding.
Ok. Salomon, la conférence, qu'est-ce que vous espérez que ça ressorte de la conférence?
Exactement, mon copanéliste de droite, je comprends son inquiétude maintenant, je comprends son inquiétude parce qu'en fait, l'atmosphère sociopolitique qui est aujourd'hui, qui est morose, qui est lourde, qui ne permet pas à ce que plusieurs acteurs s'asseyent sur la table parce que la conférence que Christian Tchoumi propose, c'est un préalable à la grande conférence. Et c'est dans ce préalable que les anglophones vont se parler. Ceux qui sont en prison, ceux qui sont là, ceux qui sont dans des forêts, ceux qui sont déplacés, c'est dans cette conférence qu'ils peuvent se parler pour savoir la substance qu'ils peuvent mettre dans la grande conférence. Mais mon copanéliste de droite dit qu'à l'heure actuelle, si le moment est mal choisi, pourquoi? Parce que l'atmosphère sociopolitique est morose, elle est lourde. Il faudrait d'abord qu'on relâche tous les prisonniers issus, n'est-ce pas, de cette crise sociopolitique, qu'on relâche les prisonniers de la crise post-électorale, qu'on admisse certains, qu'on donne la possibilité à ceux qui sont à l'extérieur d'être à la table, n'est-ce pas, de la négociation, qu'on les donne des garanties qu'ils ne seraient pas poursuivis, qu'ils ne vont rien risquer. En ce moment-là, on va donner plus de chance à la conférence de Christian Tchoumi de produire des vrais fruits parce que la majorité des personnes qui sera concernées à cette chose sera assise et il y aura donc des possibilités que plusieurs idées jaillissent et qu'on mette dans le même panier les meilleures idées qui pourront challenger en fait les idées, n'est-ce pas, du gouvernement ou des autres Camerounais dans la grande conférence qui doit se tenir. Je pense que ce point de vue n'est pas écarté. C'est un meilleur point de vue, puisque en réalité, la grande conférence est une conférence nationale où personne ne doit être exclu, où aucune idée ne doit être mise de côté. Donc on doit donner la chance à tout le monde. On doit mettre sur pied des bases solides pour que tous ceux qui sont en prison, ceux qui sont en exil de par cette crise, ceux qui sont, n'est-ce pas, dans la diaspora et qui connaissent le problème anglophone et qui pourraient apporter une idée, s'asseyent à la table, n'est-ce pas, de la conférence primaire organisée par Christian Tchoumi pour apporter, n'est-ce pas, leur eau dans le moulin qui pourra une fois de plus contribuer à mettre sur pied des vrais canaux qui vont libérer le Cameroun lors de la mise sur pied de la grande conférence ou bien du grand dialogue national qui sera organisé où les vrais problèmes du Cameroun vont être posés sur la table.
Okay, Doctor, I've listened severally to most international organizations and countries making recommendations onto ways of getting Cameroon, especially the Northwest and Southwest region, and the government out of the current impasse, and most of them are naming the Tchoumi-led commission to be given an opportunity. But we understand that it is true that, okay, everybody's blaming the government, but on the other side, there was no endorsement from them also. And seemingly everybody's turning a blind eye to it.
There was no endorsement from who? From
the separatists.
From the separatists?
They themselves did not, okay.
Well, let us get a few things straightened out here.
Yeah.
You know, this conflict was going on, and then Cardinal Tume, in his wisdom, and with the others, they sat and say, hey, let's start doing something. We cannot just sit there and let things just be the way they are. We must start somewhere. And when they came on board, you know, there's always this issue of mistrust. You know, people would, you know, they would say, no, we don't want it, we don't want it, we don't want it. And
let's sponsor to come out.
Yeah, you've been, and people have, I mean, they're actually right in that kind of thinking, because we've seen a lot of things happening in this country, and usually, in fact, if we are still even mentioning that that commission, is because of the face of Cardinal Tume.
Yeah.
If there was no Cardinal Tume there, it would have been dead and buried.
Yeah.
But because we know that Cardinal Tume cannot sell a people for a plate of beans, that's why we are still talking about it. And then now, don't forget, the government has been punching the Ambas, and the Ambas have been punching the government, and the people have been crushed in between, and so on. Everybody is beginning to have fatigue. And sometimes when you have fatigue and you've been boxing, no, that time you probably can some wisdom. You know what I mean? And you know, people have been dying. If in the whole of this thing, if we are only the civilians and the Amba boys dying and the military are not dying, probably nobody will listen. But the military, they are also seeing their comrades killed and so on. And sometimes they ask the question, but what are we fighting for? Why are we fighting? We are all brothers. Why are we killing ourselves? So it gets to a point where we begin to think and say, look, for how long is this thing going to continue? And then something that you rejected when you were still in the early morning, when the sun is up, and then the dynamics have changed, you begin to say, hey, let me have a second look. So that's what is happening. Just because we said no to Cardinal Tume yesterday, it's not no today. Cardinal Tume is welcome. After all, the president said that there was no dialogue, but today he says there's dialogue, and then, you know, a lot of things are changing. And don't forget, we tend to say, oh, we don't want that international community is meddling in our affairs. But let me tell you, that international community is bringing a lot of help. Well, without them, nobody will be talking to anybody here, but we are going to talk to each other because of that international community.
Okay, since we are looking forward to the possibility for people to get to talk, should we also start looking at the possibility for this conference to go beyond just having a conference, but to start contacting both parties for possible negotiation or dialogue?
Why not? You see, the unfortunate thing which is actually happening is people who start a war. It is people who will still end the war through negotiation. And in this issue which is happening now, there has to be concessions. There has to be some give and take. Let people not think that they are going to come in to win at all costs. When you come with that mentality, then you are not even ready for reconciliation. The issue that what actually brought this tension was that there was a bone of contention. And the government saw it from its own prism and started giving piecemeal solutions, which as they are giving their own solution, the stakes are going higher and higher and higher until we have extreme position. While the government is seemingly, because at the end of the day, the state has a responsibility to maintain its territory. And you just need to live and listen to the stories of some of these IDPs. You will really discover that, as a doctor is saying, some people have fought until they really have the energy again to even go out again, because even food, because they didn't go to their farms, they didn't have a house again, and they're saying that we need a solace, but we cannot just give in all and all without getting anything in exchange. So it's still a strategy that at this particular point, there has to be some negotiation, but both parties, they have to exchange something so that it will not just be something that started and they ended just like that, because it will still just prepare a latent bomb that will explode. Don't forget, what is exploding today was an unfinished business that started in 1961. And now that we have an opportunity, now with all the technology, with the intellectual book that we have had, if we don't use all this as a synergy to come out with a sustainable solution, and we joke, we are just going to prepare again for another more bloody war situation that nobody at that time will be talking about some other thing, and we know that we are part of the problem. But today, let us be part of the solution.
Okay, good evening in the studio, and special greetings to Mr. Tayong. The simple truth is that the PM should stop pretending and face the reality on ground. This is Julius writing from Benakuma. Good evening, panelists, and kudos to all the contributions. Please, Mr. Leonard, I don't understand why the government keeps playing games of releasing all those jailed for this course as the Kickstarter for the resolution is a proposal everybody nationally and internationally is proposing. The government is not doing anything to that respect, but still keep asking what the way forward is. Kadnatumi's conference is good, but without a proper representation and participation, which include the jailed and the diaspora, it will make no sense. This is Tiku Felix from Buya. I'm sure the government has just started something. Let's see what is in the pipeline. Greetings to the panelists. Please, with such a dialogue coming, can we trust the Anglophones of the present regime to be some members of the Anglophones representative during a dialogue? My question is because the Prime Minister told to Bamenda, okay, this is Mola JJ writing from Boya. I don't know who is going to constitute that. I'm seeing everybody is jittering here. What's happening?
Well, that text is very interesting. Whether those in government can represent.
They can't.
Very far, they can never. They should just go.
Okay.
Just go.
Okay. Good evening to all the panelists. The structure of the government is not the key factor. The problem in Cameroon today, even countries where the structure is different, national problems still exist. The key problem is our representatives needs to be fighting for the local people. I am Metam Augustine from Boya. Greetings at the studio. I think the government is not ready for dialogue now. Okay. So what is doing is just a drama that will yield no fruit. We should also know that people can't beg for a federal state with blood. I'm Chair Santos Socrates writing from Kong Samba. Okay, greetings to Mr. Elvis. Good evening to the panelists. The All Anglophone Conference is important, but at this point in time, I just like hunter aiming at an animal without an ammunition. This is from Lloyd. Good evening to you people in the studio. I appreciate the step the Prime Minister has taken, but before anything, they should release those in prison. If not, then it will be of no use. This is Gerard writing from Douala. If the President is talking of forgiveness, let's give a chance to dialogue and welcome Federation. This is Pichangwe George in Yaoundé. Good evening to you all. For me, I see the PMVC to Bamenda is just a waste of time and waste of resources. This is just from Yaoundé. God bless you all. Okay, God bless you too. We can't read all of them. Elvis, one last word. We are out of time.
Yeah, the simple last word I think is first, like to the government officials, I'll be telling them straight and clear that the government knows exactly what to do, and they have a reservoir of proposals at the presidency. Any going out in the name of asking people again after Mr. Tanganji had asked, after the former Prime Minister had asked, other people have asked, is a waste of time and resources. That's just what I have to say.
Okay, Salomon, nous sommes préparés de temps.
Au fait, mon mot de fin, c'est qu'en fait, j'implore ceux qui nous gouvernent d'avoir la hauteur, parce que le Cameroun ne s'arrête pas à eux. Le Cameroun, c'est une continuité. Les hommes passent, les institutions restent, la nation reste. C'est une pensée. Qu'ils comprennent en réalité que l'histoire leur a donné une occasion de planter les jalons de cette nation. Cette nation qui est détruite depuis 37 ans. Ils ont le temps aujourd'hui. L'histoire leur a donné le temps de planter. C'est qu'ils mettent de côté l'orgueil et qu'ils plantent une fois pour toutes les bases de la nation camerounaise qui pourront profiter à nos enfants et à nos petits-enfants. Parce que moi, pour moi, en ce qui me concerne, il n'y a aucun endroit où je me sens à l'aise plus qu'au Cameroun. J'avais dit que je n'irai jamais en aventure. Donc je resterai ici et je me battrai pour que ces jalons soient plantés.
Ok, doctor, your last word.
Oh, thank you very much. I want to say again that we need to understand what truth is, and everybody in this country needs to understand truth and walk by truth. And if we are where we are today, it's because people small and big, they tell a lot of lies and they don't walk in the path of truth, and that's why we are in this mess. And once we start looking at truth and working with truth, a lot of things would get corrected. And as I go, please think about the confederation that we are discussing, and with the confederation, you might have an Anglophone president.
Okay, you might have an Anglophone president, Mr. George.
Yes, I go with the H: humanity, humility, and honesty. Once these ingredients are not found in us, whatever we say, if it's not represented in us, we are just other people who are bringing in manipulation for their private personal interest, and will not have sustainable peace. We need to be honest, we need to be human, we need to be humble in approaching every other issue, especially when it concerns human life.
Okay, we want to thank everybody who took time off to watch this program, especially those who wrote to us contributing in nation building, because that is what we are doing out here, and you know what you guys are doing out there. We equally want to say thank you to the technical team, the production team. We want to say thank you to you, Desmond, to you, Frank, to you, everybody. Even to you who is supervising all we are doing out here. Stay blessed. Bye-bye. Hey, I'm uncle.
Music like never before on your TV. My Music TV, your musical TV channel from BT Media Group. Quality musical selection from Cameroon and Africa. Interviews, shoutouts, and TV shows. My Music TV is the coverage and production of your musical concerts live on our channel and recorded. My Music TV is on satellite ABS3 and viewed in over 54 countries. Also on our social media platforms. My Music TV. Feel the rhythm.